Hello, hello. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Is that Z Pass here? Hi, Z Pass. How are you? Hi, D Day. Hi, Beak. Hey, guys. Welcome. Nice to see you. Hi, D14. You said Amira is now Ezra? What? Okay. Okay. So you guys got jokes, right? You guys got jokes. You guys think everything is funny, huh? It's not funny, first of all. It's not funny. And why do I look so weird? Oh my god. Maybe I should take off this lipstick. I think it's the lipstick. I think sometimes makeup is just not made for me. You know what I mean? Sometimes the more makeup I put on, the sillier I look. Look like a darn clown. All right. I'm wiping it off. How's that? All right, whatever. No lipstick, no makeup, whatever. I try. Show us your R6. I don't have an R6. I said I rode an R6. I know how to drive an R6. I don't like the R6. It's not my favorite. R1 is my favorite until I drove the BMW bike, and then the BMW bike became my favorite. And then I drove a Hayabusa, and then Hayabusa became the loudest. But it just depends on what you like, I guess. Let me see. I am not late, D14. I am not late. I was like 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes is not a big deal. Stop. Hi, Mia. He says, "Hi, Mia. Not the first, but here before the start." Yay! Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. I labeled this. You laughing at me being a clown? You all right? I will. Don't make me wash my face in front of all of you guys and scare you all to death. I can't see much right now, but that's fine. You know what I think? I need to get my glasses. Where are they? Oh, they're in the guest room. You guys want to go upstairs with me? Wait, I don't have enough battery to take you guys upstairs. Yeah, it's okay. I'll just talk to you guys for now. If I need to read, I'll do that later. Samuel, do you want to talk to everyone while I go upstairs?
I mean, I can try.
Okay, I'll wait in like 5 minutes. Stay around, okay? In 5 minutes, I'll call you so you can figure
Okay.
out a topic that you're going to talk about in 5 minutes, okay? Okay, so here we go. All right, so here we go. I want to talk to you guys. I labeled tonight's show or stream, not show, stream. I labeled tonight's stream the transition, right? The transition because me, Larry, and Samuel were having a conversation offline last week, was it? And we were talking about how I was going to announce to you all that I'm transitioning. Yeah, yeah. I finally figured out that balls and testes is the way for me, and my husband is completely okay with it. Like, he's so accepting of this. He said that he support me in any way, so because of that, we're going to be doing so. The transition that we were talking about, is this broken? This cannot be cracked. What do you do if marble cracks? God, marble is so soft. It's cracked. You mudasuka. You mudasuka. Oh my god, it's cracked. Do you guys see it? Can you guys see it? It's right there. You see that? Wait, right there. You see it? It's cracked. What happened? Okay. I'll call the company in the morning. All right. So, what I was telling you guys was this: the transition. Me, Larry, and Samuel were having a conversation about the left turning right and the right turning left. And the reason why we were having this conversation was because Dio said I think last week or the week before last, he said it's impossible for a lefty to actually be a real conservative. Like, they can change the name, but they can't change their character and their behaviors. They're still lefties inside, no matter if they change their voting habits. We had a conversation briefly about it, me, Samuel, and Larry, and Carrie, and we all said this. I think it was Samuel who said something about the transitioning happening from the inside, and talking about how if So when a person okay, let's say a person is normal, normal, but they have gender dysphoria. Let's say that a person is normal but they have gender dysphoria. They want to transition into a woman. It's a man with balls and you. I don't have to get into the description. You guys understand? It's a man. That's a man, baby. Yeah. So it's a man. He's a boy. Okay. He's a man. He wants to transition into a woman because he has gender dysphoria, right? He transitioning into a woman now means that he also not only has to transition sexually, but he also has to transition politically. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That when that person transitions, he also has to transition into the leftist politics. He has to, because that's the only way that he's going to feel accepted. No? Because you don't see many conservatives that are out here as transsexuals. Blair White is a unicorn. You know, Blair White is one of the only one of these people that I can tolerate that's from that community. You guys understand what I mean? Because at least Blair White doesn't try to act like he's not ill. He outwardly admits, I am ill. The transition that we were talking about, that Samuel and Larry and Carrie were talking about, is the transition from the inside. And I wanted to ask you guys about this. This transition from the inside. I I had an idea that was something I wanted to speak about, but apparently now that I'm actually speaking to you all, it's not coming to me. It's not coming directly to my head. Samuel, do you remember what we were talking about? Do you remember that conversation that we were having? You have to remember. It was only last week.
I do kind of remember the conversation, but I don't think it was. I might have been Larry who made that point. I don't think it was me.
Huh. Well, because we were talking about transitioning right from the inside,
Hmm.
and there was something that I wanted to bring up about that, and I wanted to speak to the pride about it and see what their opinion was about having to transition politically as well, because you can't just transition sexually, or you know what I mean.
Hmm. Yeah, you got to change your entire outlook. You got to change the
And
way
you
you
have to,
think, the way you behave.
and yeah, exactly, and who you vote for and all of that. So that's what I was talking about, transitioning, and Dio saying that it's not really a thing for leftists to actually become conservatives, really, because once you are leftist, you really can't go back.
Yeah.
Like a true leftist. I'm not talking about a person who was confused like myself. I was confused. I thought I was a Democrat just because I thought that that was the only way that I could be as a non-white. Um, but now that I know, but my
Yeah,
morals and
and
my values were never leftist.
right. And I've seen a number of people who would still to this day describe themselves as what they call classical liberals, although I think that term is a bit of a cop out. Going further and further right, people like Carl Benjamin, for example.
Oh, Sargon of Akkad?
Hmm.
Do you know? Do you guys know? That's another point that Dio brings up. Dio also brought up the point of moving the goalposts. I know, Samuel. Just give me a second, okay? I already know what you're. Give me a second. I'm saying this because we were talking about moving the goalposts and how the right is becoming progressively more. You understand that the needle is moving. Like before, you were considered leftist if you believed in free speech, if you were pushing free speech and you didn't want to control people's way of speaking. Now you're a leftist if you control people's way of speaking. Do you understand? It completely changed and turned around. So if we keep making things more acceptable for the right, eventually the new conservative party will be the past leftist party, and the past leftist party will be the current
Well,
conservative.
if you look at what's been going on with like musicians, for example, right? Punk music used to be considered very left, and it was very anti-establishment. It was very, you know, uh, anti-government and doing what you're told, and very pro-anarchy. And now all of those people who made all of that music and all of those statements in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, nearly every single one of them is towing the government line today.
Right. You're right. Like, you remember when the liberals before used to be all about down with the government and small government and FU government, and now they're all talking about how we need the government to give us this and give us that. Let's depend on the government for more of this or more of that. Let's all have our hands out to daddy government and accept the graciousness and the mercy of the government. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, well, that couldn't happen for the conservatives though? I mean, you really think that there's a chance that conservatives could eventually be that because the goalpost
Well,
keeps changing?
I think that right now, conservatives, and I'm not talking about, people in politics or people in office or any of that shit, because we all know that they're, it's all the same shit once you get to Washington. But like people who really believe, in things like freedom of speech and things like personal property and that sort of thing. And I realize I'm starting to sound a little bit like a libertarian. Trust me, I'm not. Uh, but those people are the ones now standing up and saying, "Damn the man." Back in the day, I mean, even 20 years ago, after 9/11, they were all in for Daddy Bush. But those same people who were all in for Daddy Bush at that time, back when we thought there might have been a difference between Republicans and Democrats, uh, they're seeing that this is not the case, that they can't trust the government, that the government does not care for them, and they've stood up, and now they're saying the very things that all of those leftist punks from the 70s and 80s were saying then. They don't want wars. They want freedom. They don't want the government breathing down their neck.
Dio says exactly, we need a restorationist party, not a conservative party. It's not about we don't have a conservative party right now, Dio. We have a Republican Party, which is full of rhinos, leftists that are infiltrating, and a bunch of money hungry warlords. That's what we have on the Republican Party. This is why I said I'm not a Republican. I am a conservative. We don't have a conservative party, because if we did have a conservative party, I think it would look a lot different than what we have right now. We have
Closest
go ahead.
The closest we have right now is the MAGA thing, but the MAGA thing is not a party, it's a movement. And even now, it's being infiltrated by people who do not have America's best interests.
So you guys know we were, thank you, Samuel. I'll bring you back when I need to go get my glasses, okay? Do you guys know when we were talking about, so dang, I just forgot it. I was just thinking as soon as I told him, give me a second to get my glasses. Gosh, dang it. Ugh. So we were talking about the mega party. Oh my God, I just lost my thought. I think I'm getting, how they said that the early signs of a person who's going to get dementia start like 30 years before you actually get dementia. Like just forgetting things randomly, walking into a room and forgetting why you came into said room, things like that. I think I am probably a candidate, because how is it that I can just be talking about something and then let me try to read you guys first, and then after that it'll probably come back to me. Let me get close to read. Carrie says, I'm one of those warlords. You're pro-war? Dio says, true, is something of a uniparty in the demagogues, but the base still includes a conservative view. There it was. That's what I was going to talk about. Thank you, Dio. I wanted to tell you guys that I believe that what we have right now is one party. I think we have one party. And I'll explain what that party is. That party is the money party, whatever it takes for money party. I think that's what we have right now. I don't think that we have really opposing views when it comes to the higher echelons of the parties. On the streets, yeah, there's a difference in parties, but up in the government and in the White House and in the Congress, everything, they are all one party, and that party is the money party. Now, how far they're into the whole money party is different levels. They'd have different levels of how far they're into it, but I believe full-heartedly that the R or the D next to the name means nothing. I don't think it means anything. And the reason I say that is because when we see who's actually the traitors and who are the ones who are making these dirty deals and so on and so forth, the D or the R, it doesn't matter. There's D's and R's all over that corruption list. On the list of corruption, Jeffrey Epstein's island list, all the people who went to Jeffrey Epstein's list, that should have said something to a lot of Americans. It had nothing to do with what we saw or left or right or conservative. It had nothing to do with that. If you guys see, all groups of people of every group were there. So all of us praising people because they're Republican, or following people because they're Republican, or they say they have an R next to their name, this means nothing. And that's why I hate when a lot of people look at me or look at us, the pride. They'll come to people like us and say, well, you guys are all just brainwashed anyway. All you guys do is follow the Republican Party. You think that because a person has an R next to their name that they're out for your best interest. And you'll vote blindly because the person has an R next to their name. This is why I think you guys should join me in saying that you're not a Republican. I think you guys should join me and drop the Republican label. You know what I mean? Are you guys with me? Let's drop that. Let's not call ourselves that, because I haven't called myself a Republican in probably over a year, probably maybe a year and a half or so, probably more. But officially, I'm not a Republican. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. And then the next thing I wanted to bring up with you guys was the illegals. If we all know that the situation is out of control, and we all know that they are bringing in these people because it is election year, and this election year is going to be one for the history books. We already know this election year is for the history books, and we are going to see mass voting with these people, this group of people, illegally, because they cannot let Trump outdo anybody. They're not going to let Trump. They're going to do whatever they can. They're going to have Miguel, Jose, Enrique, Mohammed, Ahmed, Ching Ling, Dong Ling, everybody and their mama is going to be voting illegally this year. This is why they have all of the illegals coming in. This is why, because ask yourselves, what would be another reason for them to be pushing this? Why would anybody want their country flooded with aliens? Why would anybody want to spend unnecessary money to foster? We are an adoption agency right now. We are adopting all the children of the world right now. America, right now, when we have our own kids that haven't eaten, we have our own kids who don't have a bed to sleep in, but yet we're bringing in all the rest of the world's orphans, because Venezuela sent over all their criminals. Mexico, well, Mexico has always been Mexico. El Salvador, that president in El Salvador, he's cleaning his streets. You guys see what he did? In 2 years' time, El Salvador used to be the most dangerous country in the world. The world. And now, you guys saw what he did, right? Wait, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Please tell me you guys know what the president of El Salvador is doing. He has cleaned his country up. Now, where do those criminals have to go to do their crime? They're going to be coming here. I'm telling you guys, what would be the reason why in New York, Chicago, and Detroit, we have seen black people, black women mostly, going to city council meetings and speaking out against the people in charge, the powers that be. And what was the most common saying? They were saying, this is our city. We built this city, talking about black people. Black people are saying, we're black out here. That's what she said. We're black out here. And these people don't belong here. They're not from here. They didn't bring anything here. They didn't contribute. And they are only taking from us. And you guys are trying to displace us with them. And we're not going to have it. That's what people are saying in Chicago, Detroit. And you would think 3 years ago, they would have been said, that's racist. Don't say that. Don't be a racist. Don't be like Trump. We need to be more accepting. And now I don't know if it's as surprising to you guys as it is for me, but seeing black people stand up like that, it means something more to me than if just any other race did it. The reason I say that is because black people have been under the thumb of the Democratic Party for decades, for generations. Let's just say that for generations, black people have been under the thumb of the Democrat Party. They have had them so tightly controlled and leashed and control. I mean, they have had them under their thumb all this time. And to see them breaking away and just, it's amazing to me. It's amazing. You know, maybe you guys don't feel that is that much of a big deal, but to me it is. William. Hi, William. I've never seen you here before, but welcome. He says, yep, he united all sides of El Salvador and Argentina. Oh, he united all sides of El Salvador, and Argentina is trying to copy it for themselves. He has cleaned up his streets. Did you guys know why he did it? Do you guys know why? And El Salvador, the Salvadorian president, he was president, right? For like, I think it was like a couple months. And then 1 week or one weekend, it was all the gangs of El Salvador killed around, I want to say 63 people, around 63 people or 66 people they killed in one weekend to make a point to the Salvadorian president. That Salvadorian president saw that and said, he came out after that weekend and said, the innocent people of El Salvador, the innocent people will never ever have to fear walking down the street, while the people who are bad, the vagabundos, they call them vagabonds, is that how you say it in English? He said the innocent people shouldn't have to fear for their lives, while the vagabonds walk around freely. That's what he said. He said there's no reason for the innocent people to fear and these junkies on the street be so comfortable. We need to make it the opposite way. They need to fear. The people who are junkies, druggies, cartels, gang members, they need to fear. And the innocent people need to be at ease when they walk down the streets. And I'm going to make sure that happens. And within 2 years' time, in fact, less, but let's just say 2 years' time, just to give it a more appropriate time setting, he has cleaned up the streets of El Salvador to the point where people are walking down the streets again, kids outside playing, families are returning back to El Salvador from the United States to visit now. It's crazy. When most families were like, I'm never going back there, because you had all of these punks, you know, these young kids who got sucked into like gangs and all that. But anyway, no, it is sad, Zealit. It's very sad, but it's a good thing because there was light at the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel is what matters. Hi, Lou. How are you? Oh, hey, Lou. I always feel like Lou comes with flowers. I don't know why. It just feels like she brings flowers every time she comes. You know. Everybody say hi to Lou, please. She's wonderful. Larry says there's a fight right now to not count the illegals in the census. Oh, we need to get to the list. Are you guys ready for the list? Oh, let's do it. Dio says we are not adopting, we are being invaded. Dio, we are not being invaded. We're not being invaded. An invasion happened when we are trying to prevent these people from coming in, and they're still coming in. We are not preventing them from coming in. We are welcoming them, putting them in buses, sitting them up in hotel rooms, and feeding them. What kind of invasion is that, Dio? We're not being invaded. I brought this up to you guys 2 weeks ago. I'm so angry right now. I just got really angry right now. Listen to me. We have had veterans. We have had people who have lost their lives, their limbs, their sanity, ears, body parts. Their PTSD, everything. We have them on the streets outside, right? We have them, we have them sitting outside, freezing. And when they went to the office to ask for help, the offices, the government offices, the same ones that are feeding the fucking illegals. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll comment. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse. I am just, give me a second. The same office that is feeding illegals right now, they went to those offices. They went to those offices and asked for help. The offices told them, I'm sorry, we don't have anything right now. We don't have the resources. We don't have the funding. Oh, we have nothing available for you. Come back next month. In a month, that same veteran is dead because he didn't have what it took to survive. That was because veterans don't go begging for help because they're weak. They don't go when it's not necessary. If a veteran is going for asking for help is because he absolutely needs it and there's no other way, because they are survivors. They are soldiers. They are strong and tough. They're not weak. They're not going around looking for nonsense. If that veteran came to you and asked you for help, it's because he needed it direly. And they turned them away, right? He got turned away. But now we have these illegal immigrants, right? These aliens, right? They're here. And all of a sudden, we have the resources. We have the funding. Oh, did I say we didn't have anything? No, I meant we don't have anything for you. That's what I meant. We don't have anything for you. We have things for Hector and Alfonso. We have, oh yes, we have great rooms in the Four Seasons Hotel. We have places at in the Roosevelt. We have the best dinners for you. We have sword steaks for you, filet mignon, every cut of meat that you can desire. Just imagine in your head, we have for you. But that veteran, while Enrique and Miguel are walking inside of the Roosevelt, the veteran is still standing outside in the cold. Oh, man. Samuel, I think I'm going to need you to come over here and speak, because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up cursing and making I'm going to give fodder for the people who don't like me to make commentary videos, and I don't want to do that right now. I'm going to go get my glasses, Samuel. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to mute because you guys don't.
Yeah. Hi guys, how's it going? So, I was thinking a little bit earlier what we were talking about the whole transitioning thing. And I don't necessarily just mean the obvious connotation of that term today, which is sex changes. Let's face it, um, which is obviously not a thing. It's basically mutilation. Anyhow, but what we were discussing about transitioning in general and how that happens, because I mean you'd think that eventually, right, common sense would dictate that, hey, this over here, let's do this works, that doesn't work, let's not do that anymore. But that's never been the case through our history. There's always been some faction or other who wants to disrupt, to throw a monkey wrench into the works, to cause chaos, cause the dissolution of the status quo, as it were. And it got me thinking about Joseph Stalin. And I don't know if he was the first one to say this, but I do believe that he did say this. Or it's a paraphrase, anyhow. Get them while they're young, and the possibilities are endless. And of course, that makes me think of the fact that we know that our entertainment industry is beholden to the government. We know that they generally only put out things that are complementary to the government, or kind of lean people in that direction. And when you get back into it, it goes all the way down to well, it really begins with children's programming. you know you start programming them young, long before they ever even step foot in a preschool, for example, and they're already primed and ready to kind of take in the, for lack of a better term, commie agenda that they, are then bombarded with from first grade all the way up through graduating college. And it's just it. But this is when we talk about social transition, we're talking about kind of a long-term thing. It's not, overnight. It's not one generation. It's not, it's generations upon generations incrementally. And here we are. We're watching our children turn against their country and turn against their parents and turn against their people, and they're marching out lockstep for the government. And yeah. Anyhow, rant over. Just something I was thinking about. So yeah,
And
Carrie,
thank
I get that it was a paraphrase, so don't have the exact Russian wording. Yeah, all right. I'm going to drop in the back unless you need me.
Thank you, Samuel. Let's all give a round of applause for our channel manager, Samuel. Samuel, the infamous. I want to show you guys something. Now, this is something that a lot of people can't do anymore. So I'm going to write a name. I'm going to pick a name from the chat, okay? I don't know who it's going to be yet. Just give me a second. How can I randomly pick a name from the chat? How would I be able to do it?
Wait, where are your glasses?
I have them here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to put them
I
on.
have them. Well, yeah, I didn't start reading yet. I'm not reading yet. But here we go. Thank you, Samuel, for protecting my eyes. Okay. Well, you know what, Samuel, why don't you pick a name, right? I want us to pick a name, any name, and I want to write the name on a piece of paper and I'm going to show you it, okay? So, let's see who is going to be Usually it's always Yakub that I always pick to pick on. So let me let me find somebody else. I know. American Patriot. All right, here we go. Are you guys ready? Now, we're going to do it and then I'm going to show it to you. Okay. All right. You guys ready? All right, here it is. Can you see? Okay. The reason I showed to you guys is because I realize that they're not teaching children in schools how to write cursive anymore. They're not teaching them anymore how to write proper English. And you know what I mean? They're not teaching them anymore. And I realized this because I wrote a letter. Or kind of like a little story. And when I gave it to this person, they were surprised and they said, I can't read it. And I'm going to show you what I wrote. Hold on, let me show you. And the person could not read it. Here it is. All right. All right, I'll show it to you. Ready? That's from me. Right. So I wrote this letter and the person said they could not read it. And I said, how can you not be able to read this? This is proper English. They said, because we don't write in cursive anymore. And we are no longer taught in schools how to write this way. Can you guys believe that nonsense? My writing is clean, but I've been trained. And that's what kids were trained to do when I was a kid. Well, I mean, I was in private school, but I would assume that private school and public schools did the same thing. So it's a lost art, and it's something that is going to be lost. And I think we need to keep teaching the younger generations to write this way, continue to write this way. Because my question is, if we never teach classes on lip balm, this does feel like school a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to have you guys in school, but listen, if we never teach the children how to write this way, how are they ever going to learn how to write a proper signature? How are they ever going to learn how to write their signature? Huh? Now, next thing, who wants to see their name written in Arabic? I'll write your name in Arabic. So put your hand up, and the first person who puts their hand up, I'll write your name in Arabic. Okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Mr. Renegade. I can't do that in Arabic because we don't have Mr. like that in Arabic. Okay. All right, here we go. You guys ready? I'm going to do it. Okay, here it is. You guys will make me nervous. Okay, here we go. Oh, but you know, it looks weird. Okay. So, okay, ready? I'm going to show it to you, and then I'll tell you who it is. All right. All right, here it is. That is suka. 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 And then super. Super will be suber. Suber in Arabic. So I will write suber. Suber. Suka. Suber. Suka. Suka. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why we're doing this, but I don't know. I just wanted to share some stuff with you guys. Whatever. I know it's school time. We're doing school, but whatever. Okay. Are you guys ready for the news? Oh, really? Carrie says, I met a strange lady. She makes me nervous. She wrote my name in cursive. Who? Fionn, he says, how can you write a name in Arabic unless you actually know what the name means? Because you're not writing the meaning of the name in Arabic, you're writing the way the name sounds, and you're using Arabic letters to make the sound of the person's name. You know what I mean? So you don't need to have the meaning be the same to be able to write a person's name in another language. I'm sorry, guys. He said, Amira didn't even give us the thick pencils. I want you guys to write only in pen so that if you messed up, I know you messed up. So I can know where your guys' strengths and weaknesses are. You said, Mr. Renegade, you said, so your signature can be in print now? That's what I'm thinking. If kids never learn how to write in cursive, how will they learn how to write their own signature? How will they learn what their signature, hand thing is? I know. But how will they learn what their signature writing is, penmanship? That was the reason why we learned how to write cursive, so that we can properly have a signature. So I guess people are signing their names in print now. I guess people are just signing their names in Times New Roman. Are people signing their names in Times New Roman now? Really? Oh my gosh. Or Arial? They sign X. That's hilarious. It is a great point, right, Keela? Because you think about it, these are skills that they are saying are unnecessary. They're saying it's unnecessary for children to learn how to write in cursive anymore. How is that unnecessary? That is very much necessary, because English written in cursive is the most beautiful form of the English language. If you take away that, you're taking away all the elegance of our language, right? They already say that English is as a bastardized language. Well, you're bastardizing it even more by not allowing elegance. English is a very elegant language if people actually use it properly. Anyway, William says, Soon enough, they're going to make people sign using fingerprint or eye scan facial recognition anyway. Works for Big Brother. Dang, William, you just messed up my whole night. They just scribble for a signature, the doctor, doctor style. Right, Super Suka. They won't be able to read the Constitution, and maybe that's the point. Maybe that is the point. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but that might be the point. They're like, we don't want to teach the children to read Old English and cursive because we don't want them to read all the old important documents. Because everything in the past was written that way because it was written elegantly. According to the left, English is racist. Oh, did you guys also see there was this white woman, yeah, and she was talking and she was arguing with this guy. I think she was arguing with the black guy, and she said, "You are in the multicultural section of the university. You need to get out." Saying this to a white guy, and the white guy said, "I am a part of a culture. I'm part of white culture. What do you mean I can't stay in the multicultural section of the university?" She said, "Your culture is not white. White people don't have a culture." She said that. White people don't have a culture. As she was speaking English, she said white people don't have a culture while speaking the language of white people, which is part of their culture. I'm like, the irony behind these people. White people don't have a culture while I speak the King's English. Do people not realize how stupid they sound when they say stupid stuff like that? White people don't have a culture. That's like going to someone in Mandarin Chinese and yelling at them in Mandarin Chinese and saying, "You guys don't have a language. Your language isn't real." In their own language. Anyway, so yes, they. Oh my God. Yeah, Shadow. He says we have a warrior culture, an independent culture, a frontier culture, a pioneer culture, an inventor culture, a musical culture, an intelligent culture. You white people have one of the best cultures, and it's so common now that it gets ignored. It's so prevalent everywhere that it doesn't feel like it's a culture anymore because people are so used to seeing it and they are so used to following it. You follow it so much that you don't even feel it anymore. You know what I mean? You follow white culture so much that you don't even feel it anymore. So you feel like it's not really there. But in fact, it's all over you. Do you guys remember that I gave you guys the example of in the Middle East? The reason why I recognize white culture is because you guys are different from us. You guys don't see yourselves the way other people see you. You guys don't see yourselves the way Arabs see you. Everything that you guys do shows that you are American. Everything that you guys do, and you guys don't even notice it. You guys come to the Middle East, the way you sit at a table to eat, the way you eat, the way you cut your meat, the way you sip your tea, the pitch and volume that you speak in shows that you are American, and you guys don't even know it. The way you come to me and put your hand out to shake my hand, that is you being an American, and you don't even realize it. You don't know because you're so used to doing it. It's something that's so common and natural to you that you don't realize it. But us as Easterners, we see you. We see you, and you're different from us. You don't greet us like we greet us. In our culture, the men, when they meet each other, they may grab hands, or they may not even grab hands, and then they bump temples against each other. They bump their temples together of their head. They go 1, 2. That's what they do. They bump their heads together, and that's their greeting. That's their form of saying hello. White people, hand out, right? The other way that Arabs greet one another is bowing. We'll bow and put our hand on the chest. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. That's what we do. That is our bowing. We bow to one another with our hand on our chest. Assalamu alaikum. That is the way we greet each other. We never put our hand out But you as Americans, you guys don't even understand. And you guys feel like you don't have a culture. Your culture is so prevalent. Everything you guys do shows your culture. Do you guys even know how I look at you guys? You guys don't even know how I see you. That's the funny part. I wish you guys could see yourselves from my point of view. I wish Americans could see themselves from another person's point of view. You are not like us. So, for all the white people and black people going around saying that white people have no culture, you are living their culture. This is the reason why you don't recognize it. That's the only reason why. And black Americans to us are not black. They are Americans. We don't make this separation. We call you American because that's what you are. You act American. You walk and talk American. You're American. So for all of the people in this country, trying to differentiate themselves from each other, well, black people aren't like white people, and white people aren't like black people. You guys are all the freaking same to us. You want to know why? There's so little differences between a white American and a black American to us. The only small differences you guys have is a little bit of a dress. You guys dress a little bit different, but the music you listen to is the same. The way you talk is the same. The way you act is the same mannerisms, same behaviors, only slight differences. Where you see black people maybe a little bit more hip hopish, hip hop style. But you even see white people acting like that too. White people, you guys are the same to us with very little differences. So I hate watching these videos of Americans going to one another and saying that white people don't have culture, and this is a multicultural section of the university. This is the reason why white people aren't invited, white people aren't welcomed. It's so dumb. It's just so stupid. Oh man. Lepo says, the way we dress, scammers can pinpoint Westerners from afar. Exactly. The way you guys dress, and even walking. I'll give you an example. A lot of Easterners, especially the men, when they reach a certain age, they walk with their hands behind their backs. It's a natural thing. It just happens. White people never do that. White men, I'm sorry, I'm saying men. White men, no matter what age they are, never walk with their hands behind their backs for some reason. You always see them walking a certain way. This is a very common thing for you guys. We can look at you and tell you're American. This guy's American. He's not even putting his hands behind his back. Or you're walking with your hands in your pocket. Arabs never do like that. You never see Arab walking down the street with their hands in their pocket. Hi, hey, how's it going? You'll never see that. But white people do it. I'm sorry, not white people, Americans. I'll say Americans. But yeah, Shadow says, they wish us divided so we tear ourselves down and they can rule over the ruins. I agree. Like Raven told Oprah. She said that. She did tell Oprah that, and Oprah was so offended. Oprah was like, oh, the internet is going to tear you up alive. When truth is, Oprah was the one who got tore up alive because most of America agreed with her. Raven is not African, nothing. There's nothing about her that's African. Raven is all American. She's all American. How many generations do you have to be born in this country? How many times does a baby have to be born and before you can call yourself an actual American without having to keep saying that you're an African? How many generations needs to be born before you can say I'm not African? How much mixing has to go on before you can say I'm not African? I don't know. That's why I hate seeing that too. African American. Does English sound funny? Sometimes. Sometimes. You know how I know? When I wake up right before I'm actually able to process English, we think in our own language, in our heads, the voice in your heads. Everybody has voice in their heads. Sometimes I have a few. But whatever, the main voice, the commander in chief in my head speaks a different language than English. And in the morning when I wake up, before my English spokesperson can wake up and actually translate the world, there might be someone speaking English around me, and it takes my brain a second to register what they're saying. And that's when I recognize that English sounds funny to me. That's one way that you can recognize how English sounds to people who don't speak English. Try to wake up suddenly and hear how your language sounds without understanding it for the first few seconds. Then you guys can understand how it sounds to foreigners. I don't get what you just said. You said Trump is in your head. I miss Trump so much. I really do. I really want him to come back. Did you guys see what just happened? He ended up exposing the mainstream media on live TV. Let's do the news. Let's do the news because obviously I am not, I am actually wanting to give you guys the news, but I keep on beating around the bush and getting somewhere else. So let's do it. Let's do it. I am going to share with you all the news. Okay. Thank you, Larry, for providing us with the list of the week. Let's all give a round of applause to Larry, who is always so gracious and so fiel. I said fiel, fiel. Fiel means loyal, but he's always so gracious and fiel in providing us a list every week. Thank you, Larry. In the news, here we go. I need a minute. Let's all have a drink before we do this because you guys already know what it's about to be. Let's all have a drink. Salute. All right. Here we go. In the news, illegal aliens were injured after falling from the California border wall since they couldn't enter the Texas borders. Days ago, 10 illegal aliens tried their luck by scaling a border wall in California. The attempt resulted in the San Diego Fire Department rescue team reporting to a quote unquote mass casualty after they fell from the wall. No children were harmed. Those who fell from the wall were from 18 to mid 40s. Most of the injuries were minor, but one illegal alien suffered a broken leg. Oh, poor baby. That poor alien. He suffered a broken leg while committing a crime. Oh. It's just too bad that my bag of Give-A-Care is empty. I'm sorry, little Pedro. In fact, his name was Pedro Rios. Never mind. I'm not going to be mean. Pedro Rios is not the illegal alien. Pedro Rios is the director of the American Friends Service Committee's U.S.-Mexico border program. Say that 5 times fast. Anyway, Pedro Rios told reporters that this isn't an isolated incident. Illegal aliens are regularly getting hurt by climbing the wall and falling off. It's almost as if the wall was built high in order for that to be a possibility. Could it be that the wall is high for a reason to deter people because if you fall, you might die? That might be one of the reasons why. Because if not, why wouldn't we just make the wall a foot high? So that we can make sure that no illegals get hurt. Oh, no. Even then, illegal aliens might run and trip over the border wall if it's too short, right? It may not be big enough for them to see, and then then it's going to cause them to hurt themselves. So we really got to be careful. We really got to make sure the health and the well-being of these illegal aliens is really taken care of, guys. We need to do better. We need to do better. What kind of country are we letting our illegal aliens get injured? I mean, clearly we're messing up as a nation. What has America come to? Next, in the news, a minority-owned business ruled racist by a federal judge. So, a federal judge in Texas ruled that the Minority Business Development Agency must now serve all business owners after a group of white business owners sued the agency for discrimination. Yes. 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 Listen, do you guys remember a video that I did like 2 years ago? I did a video 2 years ago, and the title was Anti-Discrimination Laws Apply to You as Well. I was talking to white people when I said that. Anti-discrimination laws apply to you as well. Don't think that anti-discrimination rules or laws are only for browns and blacks. That is not the case. White people being discriminated against by affirmative action um, policies and policies that only help people of a certain race or a certain color, that's still discriminatory, and it shouldn't be allowed in a country where we say we don't see the color of the skin but the character of the person. It shouldn't be allowed. I don't care how nice it sounds. I don't care how nicely pandering it is to the. I don't care. We shouldn't have that as a thing in a country that says that we do not see the person's skin tones. It's all about merit and character. But anyway, it was ruled in Texas that this Minority Business Development Agency must now serve all business owners after a group of white business owners sued the agency for discrimination. This ruling will no doubtly have broader implications in the fight between pro and anti-DEA agendas, as a federal agency can no longer discriminate based on race and only race alone. In response, the National Urban League president, Mark Morial, urged the federal government to appeal the decision, saying, and I quote, "The work of the MBDA to concentrate on the growth of businesses that remain substantially locked out of the mainstream of the American economy is needed and necessary." That was just a long sentence to say we need to make sure white people don't get any of these benefits. Let's make sure they stay out. That's all that was. He just made it sound really nice, but it's just a way to say we still want to continue to be racist. We still want to discriminate. Let us keep doing what we've always been doing. If you don't, you're racist. That's all that was. Because the moment that Texas says that they can't discriminate anymore, they are going to say, well, if you guys don't let us do this, you're racist. If you guys don't let us discriminate against whites, you're racist. That's all that's going to happen. So anyway, are you guys ready for some LGBTQIA plus pedos plus everything sick news? Are you guys ready for it? Let's do it. The Alphabet Community nonprofit founder has been arrested. LGBTQIA plus pedos plus everything sick nonprofit Casa Ruby, I guess that's the name of her. She has been arrested on charges of money laundering and fraud in Maryland after fleeing to El Salvador. She stands accused of misappropriating between $150,000 to $1.3 million in pandemic relief funds. According to the DC U.S. Attorney's Office, Ruby Corrado put the money in personal bank accounts in El Salvador and hid the transactions from the IRS. Ruby fled to El Salvador back in 2022 when her alleged actions came to light. But she then returned recently and was found at a hotel. She was probably hanging out with the rest of her illegal alien friends, probably the Roosevelt. Must have been a nice hotel. Four Seasons. Roosevelt, was it? W? Which one was it? Which one of those luxury hotels were they staying in? I'd love to know. I speak Spanish. I speak Spanish. I think I can pass. I think I could pass as an illegal alien. I think I can go there and tell them I'm illegal and get my free stay at the Roosevelt. I would love to stay at the Roosevelt. I've never been in the Roosevelt. I would love to. But anyway, enough of my dreams. Let's go back to the article. She put her money in a personal bank in El Salvador and hid the transactions from the IRS. She fled to El Salvador back in 2022 when all of her actions came to light, but then she returned recently and was found in a hotel. The full details of her charges are wire fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering of monetary instruments. Wait, whoa, monetary instruments. Wait, that could mean a whole slew of things. Now I'm interested to know what were the monetary instruments that were, okay. Because that could mean a whole slew of things. All right. She faces up to 30 years in prison for bank fraud, while the wire fraud and money laundering charges carry up to 20 years each. Her foundation was created in 2012 to provide services for homeless LGBTQIA plus pedo plus everything sick youth. Wow. So she opened up a foundation back in 2012. My God. Back in 2012 to provide services for homeless LGBT people or youth. Yeah, youth. And from that foundation, she stole between $150,000 to $1.3 million in pandemic relief funds. Now, that is a huge gap, okay? $150,000 is not much, but to go from that small number to $1.3 million in pandemic relief funds, that is a very broad number, which makes me believe that it was probably more than that was stolen, because with that kind of huge gap, that means you really don't know how much was stolen. You really don't know, because that is too big of a gap. Because, usually when you have between 3 and 4 million, or between 250,000 and, 300,000, that is a person who is kind of understanding how much money was stolen. You know what I mean? When it's a gap like that, you're in the ballpark, right? 150K to $1.3 million, that's a huge gap. You don't know how much was stolen. That just means you are just guessing. So it could have been a lot more than that. Let's be real, right? Anyway, our next story. Okay, this is our last story, because I can see this is it's going to irritate me. This will be our last story. All right. The U.S. District Court says that Biden can't force payment for transsexual surgeries. A federal district court has ruled in favor of an alliance of Christian employers who sued the Biden administration, who sought to force nonprofits to pay for trans surgeries. Let me say that again. A federal district court has ruled in favor of an alliance of Christian employers who sued the Biden administration, who sought to force nonprofits to pay for transsexuals' surgeries. they tried to get Christian employers to pay for surgeries for transsexuals. The court ruled that the Biden administration cannot force religious nonprofits or healthcare providers to violate their religious beliefs by performing or paying for the treatments of transsexuals. The fact that they, you, that, what in the world made a person in their stupid little head ever look at a Christian and say, "Hi, Christian nonprofit group. I am here because I need you to have a meeting with me so that we can discuss some of your nonprofit fundings to be dedicated or donated to a good cause. I would like you to donate or dedicate or pledge some of your money from your nonprofit to the Make a Wish Foundation." But this isn't the Make a Wish Foundation that you are familiar with. This is the I Wish You Would Foundation. I wish you would give the money to those people and say that that is from a Christian group. I wish you would. That is the real Make a Wish Foundation. I wish you would. That's the new Make a Wish Foundation, because I'm gonna make a wish, okay? And I wish I wish that wish will come true, because if that wish comes true, ooh, you thought that in your peanut brain that is a good idea to go to Christians and say, "Can you guys donate, dedicate, or pledge money for this?" All right, that's my last story. I'm not doing any more stories, Larry. I'm not looking at your list anymore, Larry. See, this is what do I have written here? I need to find something else to. Larry, 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 I am talking to you. Where are you? I am stressed. I am stressed. All right, I am. Okay. Right. Make a wish. I wish you would. That's the new wish. I wish you would take money from Christian nonprofits to donate to that. To donate to. You know what I'm sawing off, right? When I did the cutting the meat motion, you know what meat I'm cutting, right? Oh, this is. Don't worry, Jimmy. You will no longer have to be Jimmy anymore. You can live your life as Janie now. You will be Janie. This has all been donated from the Christian nonprofit. That just sounds sick in the head. For the Larry, I am talking to you. The least you could do is say yes. Larry, come here. She's abusive. Don't make me hurt you, Larry. Larry. Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously, Mr. Renegade. Seriously, I'm with you. Why don't we all just go? Listen, if I think Elon Musk is up to something, because I think he's right that we need to go find a civilization somewhere else. I think we need to get away from these people as soon as possible. If we can make water on Mars, I am going. I will save up. Let's go. Let's go. And make sure no rainbow flags come with us. You start that nonsense on Mars, we throw you off of Mars. You want to get thrown off of Mars? Or we don't even have to throw you off of Mars. All we have to do is take off your suit and helmet. There you go. Oh, you want to bring a rainbow flag to Mars? Oh, your suit is loose. Oops. Oh, it just came off. I don't know where your suit went. How's breathing for you? Oh, you having trouble? Are you struggling? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Seriously. Bye, Fionn. Bye. Have a good night because I'm getting mad too. Big Mama is mad. Oh my gosh. Listen, Big Mama still does exist. I promise you that when I get old, I am going to be Big Mama. Of course, I'm not black, but I can still be Big Mama in morals and in strictness and all of that. I will still be there's Big Mama still does exist, but she's just not black anymore. She comes of a different brand, but she still exists. I'm gonna be Big Mama when I'm old. Uh, I missed all of you guys' comments from before when we were talking about the other things. So I'm going backwards. Okay, hold on. Hmm. I can't read. Why did I do that? I took off my glasses to read your comments, and then there we go. Okay. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat. So here it is. It has been copied. And now, mods, whenever you get the chance to, or whenever you remember, please repost the link so that people can join me. Okay. Link is in the chat. Please join me if you feel like fighting. If you want to fight with me, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm not scared of nobody or anything. Okay. Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. Who's going to be the first to bring it? Who? Dio, I'm not scared of you neither. I'm not scared of you neither. Let's go. Uh,
Thanks for having me on. I just wanted to let you know you got some heavy censorship going on in your chat right now. I've seen a couple of people getting muted for innocuous comments, myself included. I don't know what's going on.
What'd you say?
Nothing really.
No, don't give me no nothing really. Tell me what you said.
Not nothing that I'm aware of. That's what I'm telling you. I've been sitting here watching in real time as people just vanish out of your chat.
Who
So
who was doing it because it tells you who deleted a comment.
it didn't tell me. It's just they're just vanishing. So I don't know what's going on with that. If it's the YouTube thing or what's going on, but you're getting heavily censored.
No, I'm asking you a question. Did you see does it look like it's a YouTube censor or does it look like it's my mod censoring?
It didn't give a name or anything. People are just they're vanishing out of the chat. There's no like you were silenced by a mod or message deleted or anything like that. There was a name with a comment and then the entire comment thread that person has had has just vanished. So YouTube is probably up to some shenanigans again.
Okay, because that doesn't sound like my people because my mods don't go around. I hope they're not going around being overzealous. It's YouTube? Okay, Keela said it's YouTube. Okay. All right then. But Carrie says it wasn't YouTube. Was it you, Carrie? What are you doing? Uh, you guys need to tell me what was happening. But was it any of your comments, Dio?
Oh yeah. I've been muted for about the last couple of minutes here. Whenever the last comment you can see was, I've been muted since then.
Oh, so you were actually kicked out by Carrie. You were muted by Carrie.
Oh, all
So
right. Well, it didn't tell me that. There's been
okay.
a couple others I've been watched too.
Usually will tell you the name. Whenever it happens, Dio, usually you can see the name of the person that muted you. Carrie, what did Dio say that deserved to be muted? I'm gonna wait for him to respond. What did he say, Carrie? Because I don't want him to be muted for no reason. I know, Larry. I see it wasn't you. But I don't want him to be muted for no reason. There's a lot of people who don't like you, Dio, because you're a bit of an arsehole. But I always said, do not mute him because I appreciate your opinions, even if not everybody agrees with you, Dio.
Well, it's not just me. I'm been watching in real time as multiple names have vanished. So that's what made me think maybe it was YouTube. I don't know if he's been doing multiple people. I know D19 Jabs is he vanished out of the chat. There's been a couple others names I didn't catch or remember, but
D14?
yeah, his chat's just vanished out of nowhere, and I haven't seen him in the chat since.
Okay. Hmm.
So
All right. I will have a look at what's going on. You're right. I don't see them either anymore. I'm scrolling up and I don't see his. They're not here anymore.
Yeah, it's been like
Oh,
several people, like over a half a dozen.
where are his chats?
Only two of them were muted by Carrie. I don't know who these other people are you're seeing disappear, Dio, but they're Diogenes. But those are the only two people who've been muted the entire stream. So if other people are disappearing, that ain't us.
Yeah, that
But
might be a YouTube thing. Or it may be two things going on here. So I don't know.
but D14's chats aren't here either anymore. I'm going to the top of when he was, and I don't see any of his. Yeah, there's no more. That's strange. Okay. All right. Well, guys, everybody who's here, I'm sorry for what's happening. You guys, anytime something weird happens, you have my email, lionessexiled@gmail.com, lionessexiled@gmail.com. If you email me, if anything weird happens, and I'm not the one who deleted you, or even if one of my mods delete you and you feel like you've been deleted unfairly, email me and I can hear you out, or I can talk to you, I can try to fix it. Even if it was YouTube, I can fix it. But when it happens and I never know because people don't have a way to reach me when stuff happens, just lionessexiled@gmail.com. If something happens, email me and I'll fix it for you, or I'll find a way to try to get you back. But I don't know what's happening. Omegaton said YouTube deletes comments or something. I've seen it plenty in plenty of chats, live or otherwise.
That is true. It happens to me all the time. I'll put
Going
a
into the
comment in and
election,
it'll show up, and then I refresh and it's gone and nobody's seen it but me.
yeah, going into the election, especially, I think the big tech platforms are going to start cracking down pretty hard. I usually keep an alt account up on a separate screen so I can see when chats are vanishing or when mine aren't showing up. But it's just something to be aware of. I mean, YouTube is YouTube. Hopefully, you get onto some more free speech platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Rumble. It's just hard for me to get used to anything. I mean, I'm not a social media person. I'm really not. And YouTube, I can barely even YouTube. So me trying to move on to something else, I'm like an old woman that way. Like, you know how old people, they using something for so long and it's hard for them to switch over to new technology or anything different because they're, they're already used to something. They have the habit of something. And that's me. I like YouTube for the platform and everything, but it's hard for me to move on to Rumble.
Well, that's understandable.
Did you want to speak to me about anything that was in the news? As you saw, the illegals got hurt from jumping over the California border wall. One might have broken their leg, Dio. Can you imagine?
Well, it's very unfortunate that that did happen because it's the American taxpayers who are going to have to pick up the tab for that. And
Oh,
if they get hurt on our soil, they're going to be getting first-class medical care in our facilities. That's just the law.
well, it's just the least we could do, Dio. I mean, that's the least we could do to help those poor people seeking asylum.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's nothing to me because it's not my tax dollars being wasted, but I do feel bad for all the veterans that are not going to be given that kind of medical care because we spent the money somewhere else.
And listen, Dio, you remember I told you I don't understand another reason other than using these people for votes. I don't understand another reason why anybody in a country that cares about the country that they live in would be willingly putting illegal aliens on their soil. I don't understand another reason other than fraudulent voting. And I'm thinking once they use them for their votes, that they're going to mass deport the majority of them. What do you think?
Well, we saw this during the Irish importation during the first Civil War in the U.S. The reason the North won was largely because it had such an influx of people. And now that we're having these same kind of schisms in our society, it would not surprise me if they had intended why they kept pushing at things was to get us into a civil war. If they have a civil war, then they can redo the Constitution. They can get rid of the Second Amendment. They can get rid of the First Amendment. And all these things that they've just been ignoring won't be illegal to ignore anymore. But I think instead of deporting them, the big push right now is to start drafting them. If they're not going to use them to kill us, they're going to use them to kill somebody else. And there's been a big push in Congress for getting them into the armed services.
That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. But nobody is going to fight for America like Americans. To me, I don't think these people have the loyalty that an American would have.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are actually, they've caught Chinese soldiers coming in from both borders, the Canadian border and the Mexican border. We know that terrorists from various groups that we've been at war with are coming across both borders. We know that members of the cartels are coming in at least across the southern border. And we know that a lot of the weapons we sent over to Ukraine are actually getting sold back to these criminal and terrorist organizations. So we have 3 different groups that would want an American downfall, armed with weapons that should have been on our reserves but are now in their hands, coming across our borders en masse with more fighting age men in a single year than we have in our entire army several times over.
I don't know about that number, but I know it's a lot. I know for sure it's a lot. Shadow. Shadow.
Yes.
You are in the presence of a lady. Why are you wearing a hat, sir?
Because I'm out of hair gel.
Sir, you are in the presence of a lady. Please remove
Would you
your
prefer I wear
head.
this?
Listen, I want to see you now. Stop it.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me have a drink.
You're so vain.
It's there. You're happy?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You don't look bad, honestly. You don't do you guys think he looks bad? I don't think he does. I know, I saw your message, JD or GD. I always get J and G confused. He says there was an Arab man named Mohsen Samadov, leader of the Islamic Party of Azerbaijan, that served 12 years in prison, that was released back in 2023 of January, popped up on the border, and they can't find him anymore.
It's not. Why track a terrorist when you've let them into the country when you can spend that time spying on American citizens?
I mean, they have their priorities in order, Shadow. Trust me, their priorities are just fine.
Yeah, no, their priorities are to have a quellable and easy population control. It's not necessarily about wanting to bring in good soldiers. It's not about wanting to bring in a voting population. It's about a controllable population. If you import a large number of, and I don't mean this as an insult, it's just a statement of fact. If you bring in a large number of people who are uneducated from societies that tend towards collectivism over individualism, and you bring them to a country where they don't know the foundational myths of that country very well, they don't know the morals of that country very well, and then you bring them in and you make them the people of that country, you trigger a calamity to eradicate the people that would resist your attempt to control. Now you have this population of people who do not understand that in this country they're supposed to be free, that in this country they're not supposed to be ruled by an aristocracy. They would just continue living their lives the way it's always been, only now they have food, they have housing, they have water, and they don't need to worry about excessive violence. That's the thing that you're seeing. They're importing a large number of serfs and peasants and plebes, not savage feral barbarians, which Americans, when push comes to shove, tend to become when they're forced to it. That's their primary goal. The great replacement theory is only a theory because it hasn't triggered yet. And then as to the point that Dio was making about like terrorists and Chinese, that's just the other players trying to use this chink in the armor to gain their own advantage. At least by my assessment.
No, I think you're 100% right about that.
I retract everything I just said.
In this case, you were talking about these people. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit out of breath.
No worries.
You're talking about these people being transported here. I don't think that this is a group of people. I think this is terrorists. So I already know that there's been more terrorists coming from Iran and Islamic. What's it called? The people who are not, they're terrorists, but they are
Extremists?
Yeah, there it is. Extremists, radicals. So there's a lot of there's not a lot. There's a group of them that have been released into America recently, and they're Iranian. And you would call them Muslims. I don't call them Muslims. They are Iranians. They have their own little sect of what they do over there. They're not the
Persians.
same Muslim as me or the rest of the Muslims of the world. Iranians are very much different, very, very different people with a whole different religion. If anybody knows the Middle East, you guys would know Iranians are not like we have similar culture as Arabs, but their religion is different. And they are extremists, and they are not even extremists because they believe in what they are pushing. They don't believe in it, they just do it because they're kind of used to being ruled like socialist style. So they just do things because they're told to do it. They have a very different mentality. So I know that that's happening. And I wouldn't say that that's a group of people who are uneducated and coming here because they don't know how to be free. These people are on a mission more than anything.
Right, that's a group taking advantage of it. So anyone who believes that there is a single world government, like a single world shadow council, like there's one single puppet master controlling the strings, is giving them way too much freaking credit. It's 5 or 6 different interest groups that are loosely working together because they have common goals and they have different resources. The Chinese are taking advantage of the American aristocracy because they've got the backdoor passage into our country, while the Chinese have the money and the lack of morals to use it.
Awad says Iranians are mainly Shia Muslims. Yes, they are, and they also have other sects that they are. They are. They have another religion that is not even anything to do with Islam. It's something else.
Zoroastrianism?
Yes, there it is. Zoroastrian or whatever that's.
Isn't that just, and Sam's probably going to correct me on this, isn't it just pyrophilia?
No, no, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest religions in the world, and it's one of the first that presented with the duality of a positive deity and a negative deity, eternally at war for the soul of men. There aren't that many practitioners outside of Iran, though, because it's very, very old, and it's been supplanted by a number of other religions since.
Don't talk about my little brother like that, Caucasian Sasquatch. You got a
Don't insult
problem
Dio, man.
You got a problem with stop talking about they're talking about you. You got a problem with Shadow. You got a problem with me, Caucasian Sasquatch. Okay, listen, you're gonna have to get through me to get through him. So chill.
I'm concerned.
But he says, I didn't know Iranian Muslims have love. Huh? They do. But that's why they use the temporary marriages. They use the temporary marriage system in order to have prostitutes. You guys know what it is, right? It's called mut'a marriage. Mut'a is temporary marriages. You can marry for 24 hours. You can marry for 3 hours. You can marry for 3 months. You can, and you write down the amount of time you'll be married at the time of marriage. So, me and my husband are getting married. I write on a paper, I will be your wife for 72 hours and no more and no less than 72 hours. For those 72 hours, this man is responsible for feeding her, for making sure she's safe, for housing her. She has to be housed, and protecting her and so on. And in return, she has to be his wife. She has to be submissive to him and all of that because they're married in that 72 hours or whatever the amount of time is that they agreed to be married for. And this, to us as real Muslims, I know Shias think that they're real Muslims, but they're not. And yes, I said it for any Shias out there. Find me. Let's go. These people are not real Muslims, okay? And for us as real Muslims, when we see these Shias do this, we said that this is an abomination and this is a complete disrespect to the sanctity of marriage. Nothing about marriage should be used temporarily, and no one should be married with the intention to divorce. If you're intending to divorce or to separate, then you need not be married. You can't have a woman be your property temporarily. Either she is and you take her, or she isn't anything to you. That's how we believe.
Yeah.
Temporary marriage just sounds like a fancy word for prostitution.
Well, that's what it is. That's
What
what
it
I
is.
said in the beginning. That's how they get around prostitution. That's how they're allowed to have prostitution in their country, because they use the mut'a marriages. So that's the way, because they're horny little bastards, and them and the Jewish have a lot in common. Sorry.
I mean, Americans as well at this point, given how often or how high our divorce rate is, and just hookup culture in general.
No, 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 because even in America, you don't marry anyone temporarily. You guys still believe that marriage, you guys, even though you fail, you guys still go into it with the hope and dream that you're going to make it. This is something
Men do.
completely different.
Women don't really. There's a large number of women out there
You
who actively
understand what I'm
engage.
saying? Shadow, stop arguing. You understand what I'm saying. Don't make me feed you to Sasquatch. I will feed you to
Please don't.
Sasquatch if you then stop. Stop
Okay,
it.
I apologize.
But you understand, right? I mean, this is the way they get around it. He says, when Amira speaks, oh my God, I can't say anything. When she speaks to Shadow, she slows her speech like a teacher.
She does that to all of us, not just me.
No, I do that when you guys are irritating me.
Just Sam.
Oh. No, wait. Can you guys imagine? I know this is bad. I know we shouldn't think this way, but listen. Can you imagine a guy is like, I will marry my wife, but only until she gets old. Once she hits 40, I divorce. Leonardo
40.
DiCaprio will love it.
Isn't the rule like 25? In
Huh?
I don't know. I just pulled some random young number that sounded like something that would be said by some dumbass who would go with when she gets too old.
Oh, no. I don't we don't have a number in Islam. We don't have that. I
Yeah.
know Asians have a number. Asians say 25, I
Yeah,
think.
I think 25 to become a dried fish lady.
Right, exactly. So
Mm.
25 for them. But that's crazy because they have the women that don't even age fast. Like Asian women keep themselves nice for a very long time till they're like 70, and they look young until they're like 70.
I
Alright,
think with
but that
Asian
rule.
cultures, it's more about the fertility. They're a very family oriented culture. Like Westerners, we've been very corrupted into being very superficial. But in Asian countries, it's definitely you got to have the kid out because that is your retirement plan. That's what's going to
Oh
take
One,
yeah,
care of a 1-year-old.
because they're
that
like,
that
you need to have family to bring in money and do all that stuff. Yeah, you need to do it
I
fast.
mean
Let's get kids
that
fast.
that was most cultures up until different factors. Like even when the Catholic Church got rid of cousin marriage for non-nobles, you still had to focus on a family. But now with industrialization and stuff and rising standards of living, and the way you made your money now, instead of needing a bunch of children to pick up your craft and keep you alive, now like you can live comfortably without ever needing children. You can die on your feet at the age of 80 and never have needed a child with modern technology. So there's for a purely materialistically oriented person, there's absolutely very minimal motivation to have more than one child if you even want children. And then you get
I
into a place like China.
disagree heavily. I disagree heavily with your 20-year-old self. I disagree
I don't
because
agree with that at all. I think that's a stupid thing. I just pulled out a random number.
no, I'm saying I disagree with your idea that that's what they think. That's what I'm saying. I disagree
Well,
with your
Asians?
idea that, huh?
Oh, the Asians thing?
No, you said Americans because you said there's no real need to have a kid in this modern industrial world,
There's
right?
there's the perception you don't there's the perception you don't need it.
Yeah, that's what I'm disagreeing with. That's what I'm disagreeing with. I'm disagreeing because I don't believe that people are thinking that there's no real need for a kid. I believe that people have gotten so sucked up with their own greed and want for technologies and fun that that's the reason that they don't want, not because they don't feel like there's a need for it. I think they are too selfish now to have children. That's what I believe.
Okay, let me rephrase. There's not the conscious drive to have children, but there's the subconscious acknowledgement that you do not need children. In a situation where you require children to, say, work on your farm or be a source of a dowry at some point, yeah, you're going to have children as a priority. But if children are not a priority for you, you're not going to be having them. Just like let's take laundry detergent. If you have a bucket of 500 tablets of laundry detergent, every week you go to the grocery store, you're not going to think about it until you absolutely need it, if that makes sense.
Well, I think there's definitely been a lessening of the desire to have children after Social Security came in, and as the government stepped in, and the boomers started putting all their kids into retirement homes. You don't have the knowledge that your child is going to take care of you when you get old. You're probably going to end up in a retirement home. So why have one to take care of you when you get old? You don't have the knowledge that your child will help you out when you are in need financially and because you're retired. And in a lot of cases now, we're seeing the boomer population rising in the homeless population for two main reasons. One, they spent a lot of money taking care of their kids instead of investing in a retirement, and two, they kept getting divorced all the time. So we actually did create mechanical disincentives to having children now. So it is actually more of a detriment than a net positive on the individual scale. On a big picture scale, you don't produce children, you have a demographic winter, everybody dies. But individually, it benefits people to not have children themselves and live off of other people's children.
Hold on,
Exactly. And if no one's having children, if no one's sacrificing themselves for the greater good, then everyone collapses.
Well, speaking of not sacrificing yourself, Shadow, I told you to go find yourself a girl and to have somebody pregnant by 3 months from back then.
Working on it.
We are 2 months in, Shadow, and I don't see any progress.
Shadow doesn't have any game.
You just get a prenup.
I didn't hear what Sam said. I didn't hear what Sam said, and I don't want to have heard it.
One says he don't have
you ain't
game. The
got
other one is
game.
like, you don't have game, Shadow. Do we need to help you, Shadow? Guys, we need white babies, and Shadow is not working. Shadow, you need to I'm talking to you. I'm talking to see
I'm listening.
the rudeness of the young today. You see this? He's rude. I'm talking to you. You listen. Is 2 months in out of the 3 months? Why are you turning red? Why you red? Listen.
I'm not intentionally doing it. It is not a conscious decision to turn into ketchup. I'm attempting to remain male, and I'm turning ketchup, and I apologize for that.
Shadow, you're failing us, Shadow. You know we need the white babies, and you're not doing
My
it.
father tells me the exact same thing every day.
Okay, then. Well, Daddy's right. You know what I mean? Talking about, and you're sitting here talking about, look, sacrifice and everything. You should be sacrificing, Shadow. We need some sacrifice.
I'm working on it.
Okay, well, get to it. Hi, Sasquatch.
Hey, Squatch.
Hello, Amira. How are
Hi.
you this evening?
Good. I'm here. Welcome in.
Do you mind if I take a second just to go turn off my oven?
No,
Go
you're
on.
not allowed time to yourself.
Is
ever.
there a
At least
woman?
you're
I
not
was
ready
speaking.
anymore.
I was speaking to Samael. I wasn't speaking to you, Squatch.
Oh,
Is there a woman near it?
Oh wow, Samuel, I love that one. Turn off your oven. Is there a woman standing there? If there's a woman by it, then yes.
I gotta apologize, Pride. I haven't given that kid shit in quite some time, and so I might be overdoing it just a little bit.
I know, I'm enjoying it for sure. Sasquatch, were you here to set Shadow straight? Because I hope you are.
he
Today, this is
definitely
the
needs a
session.
dozen kids, obviously.
Obviously. By the time
I'm
he's like
thinking-
25.
He should keep trying until he successfully pulls off an all-girl soccer team.
All girl SWAT team.
Sure. Well, no, I haven't seen very good girl SWAT teams, to be honest, but
And neither have I. Did you hear about the new one that came out? It was
The one in Belize that couldn't even get over a water trap pit thing.
yeah, in Dubai.
Yeah, I saw that video. Like, no, the sad thing is, I've met women I know who would be able to do that. Like my mom in her prime would have been able to do that. Some women I've met who were like in the army or in the Marines would be able to do that. Some female cops I've met would be able to do that. So either Belize's women are weak, or they intentionally set the worst cops they have to intentionally lose.
Shadow, supposedly those were the trained women now. They were trained.
Exactly.
You saw their
That's
uniforms?
my point.
They had on nice uniforms, looking like bad arses, and then Failed.
No, they didn't even look like badasses. They looked like,
there-
at least if memory, they looked kind of marshmallowy to me.
Is
Hold on,
there
I'm
a
gonna
chance that it was
show it.
performance anxiety?
No.
So yeah,
No,
for
I think
special
it was the
weapons and
water.
tactic,
I think it was the
It's-
water that scared them.
maybe. I mean,
They didn't
being
wanna
special
keep their
weapons
hair
and tactics,
mixed.
you would think they would be able to brave fires and enemy gunfire and explosives and things of that nature, but apparently apparently they all have thalassophobia. Mm.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up right now. Okay, I pulled it up. Here it is.
It's a
But
really funny video to the chat who haven't seen it yet.
yeah, I'm doing it.
Mm.
All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. You guys ready to see this excellence? This excellence in women's excellence. You remember what's that thing that says, "I am woman, hear me roar"? Here we go. I am woman, hear me roar.
Belarus, Thailand, Chile. 2 teams from the Emirates. Oh!
And look at the men. It's the momentum. You need to have momentum. And they didn't have the momentum. The women didn't. It's the momentum, boys. See? They swing their feet hard. The women didn't do that.
The first one to get wet in the ice bath today. Well, they are stuck in the middle of that zip line.
They're wrong. They are so wrong for that. For like cutting from their failure to the excellence of the men.
They're not in the wrong. This is like we keep getting shown examples of why, like, yes, women. I'm not saying you cannot have badass women. There are plenty of badass women in the world, but you shouldn't lower standards to allow a woman to be perceived as badass. That's how you get like the taser girl who
Yeah.
grabbed the gun instead. That's how you
Yeah.
get instances of 2 female cops getting the crap beat out of them by a suspect the 2 of them could not bring down together. That's how you get stuff like that. Imagine if they had to rappel into a building to stop an active hostage situation and they got stuck in the middle and then the guy inside the building just gunned them down with an automatic weapon.
No.
That would be
They
5
gotta
bodies
swing in.
and maybe a couple
They
of
hit the
hostages
window
dead.
and just bounce off. They just too soft. They're just like blink, blink.
Marshmallows, yeah.
Marshmallows.
Like compared to the guys, they look like marshmallows. Tell me I'm wrong.
You
Like
know
you got the
that-
guys look like they're made of teak wood, and then you've got like the girls look like how I am right now, just kind of marshmallowy.
That's sexist. Stop it. Dr. M
I'm
says
fully aware of that.
Dr. M, you were so right. That's why I said they cut out from their failure, them swinging together, all together, jumbled up, to then the males running already past the water part long time ago. That's just wrong. But okay, now you see the women win again.
There we go.
See? So they let them do it again. Hold on. We were talking.
I'm sorry about that.
Let them help each other out. We've crossed the 5-minute mark. They've racked up a number of violations.
They needed help to finish this.
And there we go.
Just edit.
Wait, Belize is losing to the Philippines?
It's not about the time. Just don't give up.
That is the most pathetic cheer. This is no, it's not the Philippines. It's a different group. Like all of them are different countries. Yeah, some are from Chile. Some are yeah. There's a
Gotcha,
different.
okay.
Groups. Yeah,
I
there's
just saw the
two.
Filipino flag, and I just apologies.
There's 2 from UAE. There's 2 girls from you people don't even know what UAE is. I call it the Dubai.
United Arab Emirate.
The Dubai country for people who don't know what UAE is, and then Chilean, Belarusian, and some other ones.
Philippines police force crosses the line in 3:07.7.
And then the women. Wait,
One more. Uno más. Uno más.
Don't get stuck. Don't get
Vamos.
stuck. Okay,
How,
she
how
didn't.
pathetic. How pathetic. Did you see they had to cheer her on just to swing across the lake? Go on, girl, you got it. That's the kind of, and the men didn't need to be cheered on. The men just did it and moved on to the next task.
They probably got a low score compared to like some other teams.
Yeah, literally, BTK, slow motion. If that's the look, if that's the SWAT team that's coming to help me, I might as well just help myself. I just
Be
help myself.
strapped.
at that point. Exactly. Because that SWAT team, they're going to need cheerleaders next to them. They're going to need help. They're going to need 3 or 4 turns to get one task completed.
Probably a
Yeah,
couple of men with them.
right.
No,
They're gonna
and the
be
worst part, and the worst part is the amount of money that goes into maintaining a SWAT team, because you need to maintain, because for each individual member, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 support staff. You're going to have the maintenance for their vehicles. You're going to have the maintenance for their equipment, the maintenance for their base of operations, their training regimen. The fact that they're on call at all times means that they're going to have a higher salary. Their staff are going to have a higher salary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to have this massive cost for a squad that, when you deploy them, are at best going to barely meet expectations, and at worst are possibly even going to fail and jeopardize lives. This
well,
isn't just
and
like these women aren't just putting their own lives at risk for a girl, but they are risking other people's lives, and they're wasting taxpayer money, and it is absolutely insulting and disrespectful to their communities to be doing this.
you see
Well,
what LaPoe says?
at this point, do we even need a police force? I mean, we saw what happened when the Black Lives Matters riot started. And this started mainly because we had a police force that would not stand up, would not do its job properly, would not stand by its own. And when the people were calling for help, the people on the lines were saying, yeah, we just can't get anyone to you. The riots are too bad there. We had police kneeling in the streets to the rioters who were setting things on fire. So why do we even have police at this point? Why do we just not save the tax dollars and just have mandatory carry? Everybody has a gun. Everybody takes care of themselves.
Clearly, you
That's-
haven't been watching the news.
I thought you
It
meant
was
Carrie,
mostly
like
peaceful.
my Carrie. I was gonna say no. Don't put him anywhere near machine guns. Oh,
Well, from what I've seen, most of the time when the right wing tries to do anything, there have been numerous protests where we have been disarmed, then Antifa would sick themselves on us, and the police would stand by and watch. So my love for the police is not very high. I don't trust them to protect us.
well, I disagree with you heavily because the police knows that those leftists aren't for them anyway. They know that the right is actually the ones who defend them. So I doubt that they would just sit back and watch us get attacked.
No, we have video of them doing it. We have video of them disarming us and then sitting in their cars, and the people are walking up to them, filming them, and saying, hey, you know we're being attacked with weapons here. Why are you just in your car? So this is a documented and recorded thing.
Wasn't that
Yes, sir.
before though? That was
No,
that's
it depends on the police force, and it depends on where you are. If you're in like a deep blue city like New York City, it's going to be a lot worse than if you're in a more rural area like the outskirts of the DFW area. It depends on where you are, but I think you're both right to an extent. I agree with Dio that the community should be more reliant on defending itself, but I also agree with Amira that we shouldn't just completely discount the police, because the fundamental problem that we are seeing is not a police issue, it is a social issue. The reason why the police have been able to be kowtowed into something that is just dismissible by one side and used to bludgeon the other is social standards. We ignored as the police were bullied and battered and
Thank you.
broken by the Antifa rioters, by the BLM rioters, by the government. And then now when we need their help, there's no reason for them to do it. The good cops have left, and all that's left are the bully boys or the people that are there for the money. And why should they stick their necks out for someone for the rest of the country? As to the idea that everyone should mandatory carry, again, that requires on the moral fiber of people willing to stand up for their community and not think about themselves. And
This-
in some places, that'll work. In other places, it won't. It depends on how tight-knit the community is. And unfortunately, in modern America, tight-knit communities are few and far between. Families will scatter after colleges. People don't really know their neighbors as well due to the internet allowing you to have friend groups that you don't actually need to be physically in person with, or being scattered across an entire city rather than within the same neighborhood.
All right, Shadow, let me ask you 2 questions. First question, someone's breaking into your house. What's the response time for the police to get there?
And I absolutely believe in that instance, it's on me to deal with them. I'm not someone who believes that I'm going to hide in my safe room and wait for the cops when seconds matter, minutes are away. In that instance, it's on me. But I'm saying for general social cohesion, you do require law enforcement.
For the most part, though, they have been more of a protection for the criminal class than they have been for the citizen class. A good example of this would be there was a man. He had a large college football player break into his underage daughter's room. The man was going to harm his daughter in ways that I cannot describe on YouTube. He killed the man, and he went to prison for murder for it. Now, I'm a huge proponent for criminal reform, and there is no more reformed community than a corpse. 0% crime rate. So that guy, he would never hurt a kid again. And the man went to jail for this. Now, the police, they did not protect him. They were not there to protect his daughter. They were there to protect the criminal. And we see this over and over again, even in cases where they're not running the drug rings, where they're not running the prostitution rings, because there is a lot of corruption in the modern police forces in a lot of places, even small towns like mine. There have been numerous cases where internal affairs have caught them running prostitution rings. They have caught them running drug rings. So we give these people this power and we assume that they're good, upstanding people, like you're talking about we need for our communities. But a lot of times they're just as human and flawed as we are. There's nothing more about a cop than there is about an average guy. So if we start relying on them to protect us, we're going to keep running into these situations. Now, when America worked best was when every American was armed and every American took care of themselves. And you took care of your neighbor because you needed them if things got out of hand. But for the most part, you couldn't rely on your neighbor because they were too far away.
The Supreme Court has declared that the police are not here to protect and serve you. They are here to enforce policy in various municipalities.
Oh yeah, yeah. What was that case? The guy gets stabbed to death on the subway, and the police just stand there watching. And yeah, there was another case where a kid got killed. So I mean, this is the Supreme Court backs them up on this. They took it all the way to the Supreme Court to say, yeah, we don't have to protect the citizens.
This is why the cops in Uvalde are not being sued individually and en masse.
And if you go on the opposite end of the extreme where you do not have absolutely any law enforcement, you get what we saw with Antifa riots, you get what we saw with BLM riots, and you get the what you see in what you saw with Chaz. Yes, in the smaller scale instances, individual communities are able to resist and defend their communities. But at that point, it becomes a gang-on-gang situation where there's no arbitrator or no mediator, and that is also reliant on both sides being cohesive units. Again, we do not live in an America where the good and moral people are cohesive units anymore. They are divided and scattered, and then the mob are able to gather together behind their cult imagery.
Chaz happened in a place with police. The Antifa riots happened in a place with police. All these things happened in places with police. Police did not protect them from these things happening. So saying these things will happen if we don't have police, well, they happen when we do have police. So
would you like me to bring up the American West where the law was whoever's got a gun is in control?
It worked better. I will say that.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. Largely speaking, we were a civilized country. While that was true.
Someone says thief, there's no trial, there's no conviction, the man gets grabbed and hanged in the street. It's mob rule.
Which largely worked. If you look at the worst time for the hangings in America, by the standards set, the Tuskegee Institute said that lynchings occurred. We had less than one person of the black community hanged per year. This was the grand atrocity. Less than one person per year per state on average from the end of the Civil War to the start of the Civil Rights Movement. You add it up, we kill more people in a single weekend in a major city than we had die in an entire year to lynching. And you're going to tell me that what we have now works better? It doesn't.
Seeing as the records for the frontier was absolutely not accurate and at the same level of depth that we have in the modern day, I'm not going to compare those statistics.
That's not the frontier I'm talking about. You want to go to the frontier? That was a war zone between two civilizations. We don't have that now.
No, I'm talking about places like Tombstone, Texas, where it is a city loosely with no law enforcement, and people are able to do whatever they want if they've got a bigger gun than the other guy. If you don't have That is why I do not
Arizona
believe in
could.
absolute government, because it will oppress, but I also do not believe in absolute freedom, because people will inherently turn on each other for personal gain. You need a balance between the two. You need a good and moral law enforcement, and you need a good and moral armed populace in order to counterbalance each other.
What did you say, Samuel? Sorry, guys, just really quickly. Let me see what Samuel said.
Oh, Tombstone's in Arizona, not Texas.
Arizona, my apologies.
And Wyatt Earp was also technically a lawman, so they did have police there too. So
He was not at the time.
debatable. I mean, basically, all the police ever are the guy with the biggest gun anyway. What you're saying is we should have a guy with the biggest gun so that we don't have a situation where there's a guy with the biggest gun. And I agree with you. There does need to be a force of good men who can step up and keep things in check. What I'm saying is the systems we've put in place to do this have failed to do this. They are too corrupted. They are too politically managed. They are not a nonpartisan group anymore. They are run by HR departments and lawyers and bureaucrats who are owned by the deep state and private interests. If you look at what happened with the BLM riots, most of the stuff that got burned down was immediately purchased back up by the people in political power who were bailing out the arsonists. They were saying, hey, police, don't go in there and arrest these people. The business owners were getting their homes and their businesses burned down, and then they had to sell at rock bottom prices to the corrupt people in charge of the police forces that didn't go save them. So this is not working. The situation you're trying to avoid is the situation we have created. Look at Uvalde. That's another great example. There were kids in there. The parents were trying to save the kids. The kids were killed. They went kid to kid. They were calling them on the phones saying, come help us, come save us. They just killed this one. They just killed that one. They could hear them through the door screaming and crying, pop, one's gone. Pop, one's gone. They're sitting there smoking cigarettes. They wouldn't let the parents go in and save them. And how many kids died because of that? That's the police force we have.
And the solution is not burning the whole damn thing down. It's identifying where the problem is and fixing the problem. But unfortunately, people do not want to do that because it's harder than just complaining about the problem.
Can I apply an analogy to this situation? Do you believe the Department of Education is recoverable?
I don't think the federal public education is something we even need. It should be at best at state level. And I believe in private schooling more than anything.
I can agree with you on that. The police system in America has become more of a political arm of enforcement than anything else in the recent years, at least in my experience. I've been interviewing auditors and trying to get cops in to come talk to me, and they'll talk to me backstage, but they won't do it like in a public setting. A lot of them really don't like what they're doing. So they don't do it well. I'm not sure that's recoverable.
What do you mean they don't like what they're doing? Like they don't like...
So, they're not supposed to have quotas and stuff, but they do. And they don't like that. And so when they enforce their quotas, they tend to stack them up on individuals rather than spread them out across the community. They don't like that. They don't like having to do something like that because it requires that they incriminate a number of people, whether they believe they're criminals or not.
So they're going out there to find crime, not really fight crime, but to find it purposely. And if they can't find it, to make it.
And that is a totally different training regimen from just enforcing policy, as it were. I'm done.
I see all of you guys' sides. Honestly, I see all of you guys' sides, but I guess I'm more with Dio than not with Dio on this because, we have the cops are not being valued right now, and they're not doing their job anymore, and I don't blame them. But what's the other option? We go full militia.
I do blame them. Because if they don't want to do the job, they could go flip burgers at McDonald's or plow a field.
It's not that they don't want to, Caucasian. It's because the mayors are bought and paid for, and they're telling them to stand down forcefully.
So following orders?
Yeah, so they're being neutered.
Is
There is
that doing
no
the job there?
there is no order that anyone could give me that could have me stand by and listen to children being killed. I mean, what happened at Uvalde was a wake-up call for the entire country.
Well, I mean, Dio, you don't really know that until you're in that situation. Like,
Right.
no man knows what they'll do in a situation like that until they're in it. No one can claim no one can claim I'll be Rambo in a firefight until they're actually Rambo in a firefight.
There is things you can live with, and there are things you cannot live with. I've been in situations before that I would have run away from. Letting a child die is not one of those situations. That's one of those situations you do that, you spend the rest of your life looking with that, living with that shame. Death is a better alternative.
I'm not disputing that, but in the like claiming, oh, I would jump in and I would single-handedly stop the shooter in Uvalde, where I would.
I didn't say I'd stop him. I'd probably
I'd
get gunned down. I wouldn't last, but I wouldn't sit there and do nothing.
I think Sam's yelling at us.
Yeah,
Or
he's ready for us to stop. I like that we can blame that on Sam. Yeah, Sam, stop putting banners up.
Is that you?
Stop. I like to blame it on Sam. Sam, stop putting
Okay.
banners up
I'm sorry, Mara.
without my permission, Sam. But
I'm sorry, Sam, for blaming you.
But this happened again. I'm sorry that this happened again, that we were right in the middle of something and I have to go. I'm at the 2-hour mark and I can't, it's a family rule really that I'm not supposed to really go over 2 hours. Sometimes we do 3, but I think 2 hours is a good sweet spot. But it's a shame that we start getting into good conversations right at the 2-hour mark. I feel like you guys do it on purpose so that I don't stop. But you guys all got out your points, right?
More or less, yeah. I'm still muted in the chat, so this might be my last show. It's been good to know you, though. Thanks for having me on.
I don't know what that means. What am I missing something?
Oh, no, I can't speak in the chat. I'm still muted there. So I'm a free speech absolutist. If I'm not going to be allowed to speak, there's no point in me showing up. So this will be my last show with the channel. Thank you for having me on.
You're here speaking. What do you mean you're not being able to speak?
I mean,
Are you
in
talking
the
about
chat.
chat?
Chat. I'm still muted in the chat.
Apparently, YouTube is not letting him. Either he's still
no, that's their mod,
or YouTube is still being stupid.
Oh, so I guess so you're saying because Carrie muted you, you're never going to come back to my channel?
Well, I'm still muted, and it's been a recurring problem. So this will be my last show. I appreciate you having me on, but if you're going to have him on muting me all the time, I can't do that. So thank you for having me.
If I'm going to have him muting you all the time, you act like I told him to go out there and mute you. Maybe if you're saying something in the chat that's mutable, I have to see what happened. I don't even know what happened. So I have to see. I have to figure out. But you've been blocked, Dio. You have been blocked 3 or 4 times, and I have brought you back repeatedly. So I do not want you to come to tell me, oh, because I'm blocked or I'm muted, I'm never coming back to your show. I have defended your right to say what you want so many times, time after time. So please do not.
Hold on. Let me make a statement. Dio, I was watching a certain channel and I saw you in the chat on that channel telling people that you were blocked when I know for a fact that you had already been unblocked. And the reason that you gave for the blocking wasn't even true. It wasn't even what you were blocked for in the first place.
Did you tell me what you were blocked for?
I wasn't the one that
blocked you. You have blocked me multiple times. You've had. I don't want to make a blow out of it. Well, all right. Whoever has blocked me, I don't mean you. Whoever has blocked me, it has been a recurring thing. You have the same people. This will be the last time I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Right now,
one at a time. Don't yell.
I will tell you why you got blocked. Amira had her friend on, and she asked everybody to treat her with respect, and you did not do that. That's why you got blocked.
No, the time I was on Dead Chronic's channel. That blocking was before Rachel was on, so incorrect.
No, that was after you had been blocked, and I saw you telling somebody I got blocked for this, and this, and it in fact was not true, and you had already been unblocked before you even commented. I just think you didn't know yet. I think you were blocked for like a week.
Right, okay, point is, I keep getting blocked. The people doing it are still here.
The point is that you're probably saying things that are getting you blocked.
Well, if free speech is either free or it isn't, that's my point. I'm a free speech absolutist. Thank you for having me on. This is my last time here.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna beg, I guess. I mean,
Bye.
I don't even know what he said. I mean, it's
Nobody
crazy
does.
because one second, Larry. Because I'll have people in the chat who they say something. My mods handle the situation as best as they think the situation should be handled, and it comes back to me where it's like, I'm not coming to your channel again anymore, Amira. And I'm like, what did I don't even have anything to do with that. I'm not even there. And another thing is that, Larry, how many times have I unblocked Dio? Probably like 3 or 4,
About
right?
3 or 4 times.
And I have always
With
brought him
with
back
with
because,
us with us telling you don't do it because
yeah,
it was
I
going to
mean,
happen again.
people
Because
keep
he was
saying
going
don't
to
bring him
say
back.
or do something again that was
I
going to get him blocked.
I appreciate Dio and I like his points of view. You know, I don't. That's why I don't like. But I need to figure out what was said. I mean, there have been times when Dio has been egregious in the chat, and he doesn't see it that way because I guess he feels that he should be able to say whatever he wants because it's free speech and everything. But I don't really know what's going on. I have to see what happened. I don't know. So if it's something, I don't think it's something I need to really address with the mods because I know Carrie, he doesn't typically just block for nothing. So I have to take a look at it, guys. Just let me look at it. You know, I mean,
Well,
it's just not.
I just got a screenshot and I'm seeing what got him blocked.
Okay. Well, I'll review it with you guys later. We'll
Yeah,
talk
he
about
ran
it
his mouth
after.
like he always does. That's what got him blocked.
We'll review it after here together. Right now, I want to speak to the pride and say good night to all of you guys. Mods who want to talk about the situation, stay after. You guys can stay after and we'll talk about it. Thank you all for joining me today. I apologize for the for the drama. I don't know where it comes from sometimes. So I'm just having a normal show trying to talk to you guys. And yeah, but I'm like, you know, another thing is I always have Dio coming up on the panel. I love having him up on the panel. I love the conversations. And I mean, if he gets upset because in the chat he gets blocked or something or gets timed out or, you know, it's not even a blocking. Is he actually blocked or is he timed out? I think he's
I
actually.
don't know. I mean, Carrie, Sam, and Larry have all timed me out each time, and each time I probably deserved it because it was jokes that violated the TOS.
Right.
I have timed people out on my own streams and stuff like that for similar reasons, and you can pick an amount of time, and you can also set permanent blocks.
That's right.
I don't know what Dio said, but yeah.
To be fair, kid, I have timed you out at least once on at least one channel because it was funny.
I
Well,
think that was Carrie's channel. That wasn't this channel.
another thing
And
is
now,
that
it was funny.
Shadow, can you please hold on? Another thing that we have to remember is that it's not just about free speech here. It's also about YouTube. We also have to remember this isn't Amira's platform. This is YouTube. And my mods, we've lost a big channel already. So I think a lot of them are just nervous about certain words being said or certain terms. That's usually the reason why they time out people. It's not because they're offended. It's because certain things said in the chat can trigger my channel being watched and censored. And just like he had brought up, he even said there was YouTube deleting even D14. D14, all of his chats had disappeared. I need to figure out what happened to him. So I have to figure out what's going on with that. But Dio, you don't need to take it personal if they time you out or whatever, what have you. I had been having your back all this time. And to say you're not going to come talk to me anymore or enjoy the channel anymore just because you got upset at a mod for timing you out, it's a bit of a reach. It's a bit of a overreaction. And, you know, I don't expect that kind of behavior, but no, he didn't get blocked zone. D14, he didn't do anything. He just Dio even said his comments just disappeared, all of them. I went all the way to the beginning of the stream and they were gone.
Yeah, no, I've never seen them do it on a live stream, but like there will be comments. Like even on my own videos, there will I will see that someone's commented, but I cannot see what the comment is unless I do some finagling, and it's typically nothing even bad. It could even just be Carrie saying, "Hey, I liked the video," or Carrie being Carrie, and the comment's gone because YouTube wanted to delete it. So D14 Dio may have done nothing, and YouTube just decided to pick a fight with him for whatever reason.
No, it's not YouTube. It's Carrie. Carrie already admitted that it was him who had did something with him. So I'll just have to figure out what it was. If it was not egregious, Dio won't be blocked. But if it's actually, he says that he wants to go. So I mean, if that's the case, if he wants to go, then I'm not going to stop him. Because if it's going to be this way, where every time he can't have Dio, if you're still listening to me, I can't give you free reign over the channel. I can't just say that you can say whatever you want and my mods are never going to time you out or put you in the corner. I can't do that for you. I can't do that for Larry, for Samuel, for Zealot, for anybody who's even close to me. I don't let anybody have free reign because YouTube is particular, Dio. So if you're still listening to me, I can't give you free reign over the channel. You're going to have to accept that sometimes you're going to say things that maybe if you're saying things that are egregious, the mods will have to time you out sometime. If you can't handle that, and that is something that makes you not want to come back and even talk to me just because of the mod situation, I'm not going to stop you, Dio. I've defended you so many times. You didn't even know I was defending you, but I'll admit it now. I've defended you many times, but apparently you're like ready to just leave me just because of that. So I'm not going to beg you to stay. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that much of an overreaction. I expect better from you. All right, guys, are you guys ready to go? I'm going to have my meeting with my mods. I'm going to beat a couple of them. And then I'm going to see what Dio said that was so egregious that needed to be timed out. And then I'm going to see what happened to D14. Okay? All right, guys. Have a great rest of your night. I will see you all possibly Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay? All right. Thank you all for joining me. And with that, I yield my time. Good night, everyone. Let's play some music.